Good evening and welcome back to Sunday Evening Devotions. We are looking at the Old Testament messianic promises that Matthew uses in his gospel to prove that Jesus is the Christ. And we come to chapter 2 after Herod had interviewed the Magi when they had come looking for the Christ child and went their way. And we read, "Now when they had departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, and take the young child and his mother, and flee to Egypt, and stay there until I bring you word. For Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night, and departed to Egypt, and was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the Lord through the prophet, saying, Out of Egypt I called my son." Now Matthew is quoting from Hosea chapter 11, and Hosea was an Old Testament prophet who called the people of Israel and Judah to repentance because they had forgotten the ways of God and violated his covenant, and was reminding them that God was their God. He had brought them out of Egypt. He was their deliverer. Hosea's comment here is taken from Exodus chapter 4, where God speaks through Moses to Pharaoh and says that Israel is his son and his firstborn. And so we see the identification then of Israel with God's Christ, and Christ with God's people, Israel. That what we have in the Old Testament really is the Old Testament Israelites, and their redemption was a picture of our redemption in Jesus. And Jesus was living out the life and the history of Israel as a people to be identified with them. All this was to prove this Jesus was to be God and man and come to redeem his people as God had promised in his many promises in the Old Testament. And so Matthew refers us here because what God promises is that those whom he loves, he calls out of bondage. And that is the good news of the gospel. And that is why Jesus came, to redeem us from our bondage. And Jesus has done all this for us, that we might give praise to God. Well, that is good news. Good night.